Technicalities.
I got told as a child by one of my basketball teammates' mothers. She said, "Don't drink tap water. It has estrogen and it will make you a bitch." That's what she said, right?
That's how you should open the phone.
What?
That's the quote.
I'm starting it from there. I'm just letting you know from now.
Hey, nah.
Hey, so yeah, there we go, folks. Don't drink tap water.
Apparently, that's crazy. It's a new
Unless
one.
that's what you are.
I've heard the whole fluoride in the tap water.
Damn.
Ruins your brain.
Yeah, but Americans, that's why their teeth are so wet, because they have so much fluoride in the tap water as well.
That's the reason.
Apparently.
I need me some more fluoride. I need me some fluoride.
That was a good one.
That was pretty hard.
Pause. hey. 1 minute in.
Nah.
What's going on here?
I don't like where it's going already.
What's going on
I don't
here?
like where it's going.
There's too much going on.
Right. Too much, yeah.
Hey, it's too raw right now.
Hey, pause.
Okay.
When you're ready, Rods.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, baby mums and baby dads all over the world, welcome to another episode of Take It to the Rim podcast with myself, Rods, aka Never Capping Like a Roy, all in lowercase.
Wow. Absolutely wow.
What?
Absolutely wow.
Yeah?
just what?
Aka capitals because I'm shouting. As you can see today, we have more than a full house. As you're listening, you can hear there's more than a full house.
Yes, sir.
So firstly, I'm going to introduce, we got,
A returning guest.
yes,
A returning guest.
we've
As
got
always.
a returning guest.
He's back.
We've got, I don't want to live here no more.
I don't want to live here anymore.
I've been planning for a few years. God damn it. We have Mr. Australia.
He's flew in from the other side.
Is that Australian?
No, it's not.
What was that? Australia.
That is an Australian accent.
Yeah, that was terrible, bro.
Oh my god.
We have Rory in the building.
Yes,
OKC.
He's back.
I know he's not here to defend Josh Giddey. So, as you can see, we're also joined by LA Jules,
Yeah.
Mr. In-season tournament winner.
Another trophy, you know what I mean? It's what we do. Something else.
Hashtag don't hang that banner.
It's what else we do. It's winning.
And we've got someone who's very parched.
Can a man not drink?
No, you're not allowed to be that thirsty, he's in the room. We have Clipper Cam in the building.
What's good?
Finally on a win streak. Well done.
It's not funny.
just about.
It's been a
Burley.
long time coming. It means nothing though. It means nothing.
50-50 Clippers.
And as the Clippers have been fighting for their lives,
Hey.
Draymond Green has been fighting for his life too. So as you guys know, there's been a recurrence of issues with Draymond Green. He thinks this is MMA. He thinks he's fighting Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. But no, he looks back and, oh snap, it's Nurkic. So right now, it seems like Draymond's got more knockouts than Fury.
Damn.
And I don't know what is going on here because this isn't the first time. He just recently came back from doing what?
Yeah,
5 game suspension
for the
choking of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Wow. And now the incident that happened and how it happened, a 360, it made no sense. I thought he was fighting demons because that's the only thing that can explain why he will be swinging and 360 like that to hit Nurkic. But what are you guys' thoughts on Draymond Green? Like, what is going on with him? Why is there issues behind the issues? Is he just moving mad? There is a theory saying with the new CBA rules that they can now save on 50% of his salary with suspensions. Clay's contract, obviously issues there. Is this intentional? Is it not intentional? Like, what's going on?
Go.
I think it's a long time coming, to be honest. I think this should have happened a long time ago with the amount of issues he's had.
Agreed.
And I think they set the bar with the 5 games.
Yeah.
With Gober, I was expecting maybe 10. And I think they're just being a bit more creative with it. I think that from this, we'll probably end up being about 10 game suspension, I reckon. looking at how they had indefinite suspensions for people like Kyrie, and they come back after like 8-9 games with the whole Amazon link that Kyrie had from before. I reckon
Crazy.
yeah, I reckon it won't be too long, but I think that it makes it look like they're trying to take it in a different approach instead of just slamming an extra long suspension, because it won't show like he's going to learn anything. He's just going to sit there brooding on the side, looking angry instead of trying to improve as a human being. So I think that's where they're coming from.
With Draymond, and there's two angles to take with this. I'd like to dive into the ridiculousness of it, because he tried to say it wasn't intentional. Are you crazy? He said he was tugging his jersey, and to sell the cool, he wanted to exaggerate. He said he doesn't fall to the floor, he doesn't flop or anything like that. But instead of flopping, you're throwing big haymakers, big haymakers to these 6'10", 6'11" Europeans as well. What did they do to you? I saw someone say how it's all calculated, and this is Draymond trying to assert the fact that USA have the strongest and the biggest bids by taking out Gobert and Nurkic. I think it's disgusting though, if we're being like 100% real. Like, I've had a problem with Draymond's game for a little while, only because his non-actual basketball antics on the court have been spoken about a lot more than like the good things that he's doing. And to some extent, you have to start looking at Steph's longevity in the league, and you already see Steph Curry getting frustrated on the bench with like the lack of production, the lack of effort that he thinks his teammates are really are giving to the game. And I think to some extent, you have to look at Draymond and be like, bro, like, what are you really doing?
Yeah.
So like, I just looked up his career suspensions and fines, and his career suspensions and fines are better than his career stats.
What do you mean?
Take it.
18 ejections.
Wow.
6 suspensions. If I find, I'm going to go through it and find. His career fines apparently are, I saw on Verse 8 they said it was 3 million, but apparently the way it works out is they'll fine you higher on that, and then apparently you get taxed on that as well. So far I think it's at 3 million that he's paid in terms of fines. And was it? So he got suspended for 5 games not at the start of the season, but earlier on in the season, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. And at that point, they gave him time to reflect on what he was doing. Yeah. There's a Jordan Poole incident where he's out here throwing very similar punches. Would you say this is worse than the punch to Jordan Poole?
No. When you saw that, you was worried for that boy.
That was pure intentional.
Punched his so out of Golden State, bro. He punched his so out of Golden State.
100%.
Bearing in mind, when he hit Jordan Poole, he also ran to catch him because he realized it was a bit.
He went too far.
It was a haymaker.
What you have to realize with the Jordan Poole punch, is that it was one step. This one, he's generated a crazy amount of kinetic energy.
The centrifugal force.
Fam, his center of gravity. And the pivots.
And he stepped back, pause.
Bro, I personally think this is a worse punch. Just because, and I think because Paul's connection was cleaner, he might get a 10 for that pause for that round. But in this one still, bro, this is a straight knockout.
TKO.
We're evaluating the Draymond punches, not even a single play that he ever makes.
Yeah.
What can I say though? X amount of illegal screens set. like what I'm really talking about, and I'm not trying to disrespect him to the point where I invalidate his whole career up to this point, but I think it would be silly to now say I personally believe Draymond Green is a dirty basketball player. He's been a dirty basketball player for a long time.
That's been his whole character in the NBA.
But do you not feel like because people know that he's an intelligent player, they're like, oh, he wouldn't do that. It's just him trying to do something else and it hasn't worked out for him.
I think, to be honest, where the reason why it's come out in this way is I think as Draymond's getting older and his play is obviously declining, I think some of these are coming out of frustration, to be honest. And I think from the Gobert play and from the Nurkic play and just his general play on the court, you're seeing him become less and less effective on offense, and he was never that good to begin with on offense. And a lot of the games that I'm watching, especially close ones where Golden State are losing, he tends to be either a part or the main cause of the Warriors losing these close games. And I think a lot of it is coming from his general frustration with how the games are being played. And I think his general MO is to lash out. And I think that is where a lot of this is being generated from. And he's just a wild character to begin with. So this is just more wild behavior from him.
It's actually one of the strangest things I've ever seen a grown man do, though. Like it's weirder than like when them, and I always have to reference this, that them Malice in the Palace, because like you could see that those guys were clearly not like stable at where they were in their lives at that point, and they were like, "Fuck it, I don't care anymore. Anyone who gets in my way is catching hands." But in these like isolated situations, nothing really seems that deep prior to it. Like, don't get me wrong, with the Gobert suspension that he got for putting him in a headlock, you can kind of understand that a little bit because of the video. It looked like Clay was essentially getting buddied by McDaniels. That's very ridiculous. There's no reason to be frustrated at that point in the game. Very, very ridiculous. But at the same time, like, looking at, I imagine if I was on the court, it would have looked like one of my teammates is getting dragged halfway down the court. So I got to go break that up. I'm not saying it justified him putting the guy in a headlock. I just understand why he got involved. Yeah. But this one here
made no sense.
Look,
the thing I don't like about this, and there's a lot of things I don't like about it, is it's not like, so even for like Jar situation or certain situations that have happened over the last few years, even though it's happened months apart. We're talking about Draymond Green's been doing this arguably for 10 plus years. Like, we're talking about him receiving suspensions that cost Golden State a title in what? 16. We're in 2024 in a few weeks.
Oh,
this
good
is
reference.
crazy. And people are understanding this goes on and on and on. And the NBA have allowed him. They've said, all right, we'll give you one suspension here, 1 game suspension here. But what? You literally had a man in a headlock for multiple seconds a few weeks ago. And you dragged him. And you got suspended for 5 games. You've come back and you're doing it again. And I'm looking at it like, is there a level of accountability? And I listened to Steve Kerr post-match. And he said Draymond has to like fight for the team. It's a good thing that he's defending his teammates. So I also believe Draymond 100% is at fault. No team or coach or organisation asked their players to do it. But Golden State have to take a bit of this because I don't feel internally they've punished him enough for when he's done this. Like, even the Jordan Poole thing, they allowed Draymond Green to come out and speak to the media about it. Make a whole bloody TNT episode. What? Like, bro, that's what I mean. They're not holding him to account, so he's not going to be held to account. And it's been allowed. And what's happening right now is, unfortunately, the Warriors are in a problematic state because you look at the state of the Western Conference, every single team, we're talking the 10 teams above them, the 11th seed right now, could all finish where they are. Like, Golden State have to do something within a trade or magical to turn the season around because every team above them is unfortunately better. Like, but back in the day when Draymond or Steph, like, cool, Steph and Clay were injured, but barring when Steph's been back, Golden State have never been a team that you're looking, they won't make the playoffs, let alone the play-in. That is very possible. So right now what has happened is, not only is Draymond deterring the team because unfortunately he's one of the better players in the team. You're going to ask me why and how, that's a topic for another story, but he is. He's won multiple titles. He's been involved. He's still a future Hall of Famer. Like, you can't disregard that. But at the minute, they're struggling. And what you're doing, you're not helping them at all. Like, you can see they're losing games and you're being suspended for games that some games could be winnable. Like, I don't sit here and understand what caused you. Like, even in that game, I think Durant wasn't playing, if I'm right.
No, he played.
Did he play?
Yeah, he played. Right. It was Bradley Beal that didn't play.
Bradley Beal didn't play. But it's
no,
like...
he did play.
What?
KD, no, you're right. KD didn't play. Sorry.
KD did. So it was a KD-less Suns, which means it's Booker, Steph, and it's each supporting cast against each supporting cast because Bill wasn't there either, I'm assuming.
No, Bill played.
Oh, Bill played.
But Bill, he was only just coming back in.
So he's not going to be Bradley Beal of that level. So you're talking that it's kind of evens. What you've done there is not only have you obviously got 2 free throws and been ejected for the other team, you've possibly cost them the game because you're one of the better players in the court that can't contribute anymore.
I would argue that he does cost them quite a few games this season as well, not only from the suspension that he first got, the 5 games, but there's been a lot of close games, especially like, for example, the OKC games. Each time that they've lost, he's been the main cause of a lot of their mishaps near the end. He's throwing the ball away, turnovers, etc. Yeah. And I think all of that is bubbling into how he's lashing out in these ways because he's losing games and he's also the reason why they're losing games. And he's normally the guy who shouts at the person who's the reason. And he's not going to shout at himself. So
He just shouts at the refs and then
Do you
takes
know-
out on
do you know
everyone
what it
else.
is as well, yeah. Like what he said as well. The Warriors have allowed Draymond Green to become this person. Like,
100%.
Yes, you fight the team, and because they've enabled this behavior, and is now gotten to an uncontrollable point, you can't be mad with what you've created. Because let's do it here. Draymond Green is an XL bully. He's out of pocket. That's what it is. He's out of pocket.
Kill me.
There's no control.
Nah.
Like you can't weather the storm. He's just when he sees a target, he goes for it. That's it. He don't
Said
care.
he's an XO bully, bro.
He don't care.
He's
And-
banned in the UK.
Man, bro.
and it's like it makes no sense. So if you're gonna make this guy into what you have, you also need to know. Listen, there's certain points where you can behave at this, where you can't. When it's to do with another teammate, get involved. Yes, you're defending your teammate. That's fine. But when it comes to the school, like even if you're trying to sell the cool, there's no way you contour your body like that to now, because he was like it made no sense.
nah, his defense was not.
Yeah, and just there's a lot of frustration. Like the team's not doing well, especially the defense. The defensive end, oh my days, it's terrible. So it's like, okay, right now it's looking like him and Steph are the only people who are switching on defense, which is crazy to say that, because Steph, who's not really known as a defender, but he's still calling different things that has happened, like even just simple help. And obviously you can see the clips that are out there, and it's like, even though he's not a great defender, but he knows how the defense is supposed to play, because the defense they've played in the past, which has been successful for them, he knows the system, he knows how it works.
So, like, two things. Statistically, the team, the starters were really arse for the Warriors. Dre had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in 17 minutes. Wiggins had 3 points.
They're combined for 11 points or something.
Wiggins had 3 points, 1 assist, 4 rebounds. Looney didn't score or take a shot. Steph had 24 points, but was very inefficient. I think he shot 8 of 24. Clay asked him.
Damn.
He shot 2 of 10, 7 points, 1 of 8 from 3, 5 rebounds. Like, they're massively struggling. And I'll be honest, this really could have been a blowout if Chris Paul didn't have 15 points, 11 assists. Brandon, their rookie, I can't pronounce his last name, Podziemski or something like that.
Brandon Pod.
Okay, yeah, him. He had 20 and 11 and 5. Kuminga had 16 and 6. Moody had 12 and 4. Like, the bench played the majority of the minutes though. Like, Chris Paul played 30. Brandon played 29. Kuminga 28. Moody 24. Saric 20. Literally, the bench by far outscored the starters. Like, by far.
This is the issue. Like they've been having issues with Wiggins. They're saying about his conditioning and locked in. Obviously, I don't know what personally happened last year, but that's 100% threw him off.
Wait. Question, because this, I only just deep, so I really did though. Why is it, that this is the only team when the players are playing this badly over an extended period of time, no one looks at the head coach? Like, what? Someone explain that to me, because I haven't heard anyone talking about.
They should be
about Steve Kerr and his role as a head coach to get this team to play better. Because when the Lakers were bumming around, Darvin Ham, or Darwin as you were calling him for X amount of the games last season, was getting called out of his name. There's loads of head coaches in this league that everyone's very, very critical of. Guys like Doc Rivers, sorry. How could I forget Doc the Flop? But he's adopted that name, not because he has a bad regular season record, but he's bad when it comes to the playoffs. And obviously Steve Kerr has a relative track history of performing in those situations in which the Warriors have won their 4 championship rings.
Well, you've answered your own question. That's why.
That's why, yeah.
No, but
Like,
But the thing is, the issue that's happening now is early in the season. It's not late in the season.
what did
Playoffs are
they do
coming
last year?
around.
they
Last year,
They got the
yeah,
fifth-
they lost to the Lakers.
They got the 5th seed last year, right?
5th or 4th, was it?
No,
They got the
one.
No, because it was in second round.
Yeah, they were second round.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were the
beat the
6th
Kings.
seed and they beat the Kings.
Kings,
And they
yeah.
lost to,
Okay.
Sixth
Lakers.
Kings,
Yeah.
So last year was like, it was a hit and miss because Lakers were playing very well. They put a run together. Like everyone really, I'm not sure if there was if the Lakers were favored, but it was like you can see, okay, is going to be more favourable for the
I
Lakers.
just think he's getting absolved of a lot of blame, though, man. Like,
yeah, he
always
is.
does.
He always is.
Does. And I think that's the perks of having a generational player like Steph on your team.
100%.
It will cover up for a lot of the issues.
100%.
I think it's hard, like for the not media because they're terrible. I think it's people find it hard to criticize Kerr because of the longevity, how successful he has been at this franchise,
longevity.
and it is recent. Like the wins that he's had, he won a
I
title.
would love to bash Kerr personally, but I just don't think that is something that
Big pause.
I just don't think it's something
crazy
that you
pause.
can necessarily do.
Yeah.
Because of the recent success.
Yeah.
And even getting out of the first round against a very, very good Sacramento Kings team, it's hard to put that on them, especially even through all the turmoil that they had Wiggins issues last year. And then the Poole issues happening as well. And like Poole had the inconsistency and they were still able to get through these rounds and stuff. So putting that into this season, I think you also got to take into account that they're losing a lot of close games. A lot of the games they are losing are close. And you have people normally put that on Curry saying he's missing clutch shots and stuff like that. So and also Clay's decline. It's hard to necessarily look at Kerr in these situations, but I don't think he should be completely absolved of everything as well.
At all. And I think there's this whole Warrior situation from Draymond, and that's why I do have to like hold him accountable though, because whether you're gonna blame him or not for them not performing in how many games has it been now, like 25 games in the season, that's one or another thing, but you cannot say that he doesn't have any say or any control over the situation with Draymond, because yes, Draymond is the leader on that team, but the leader on your team should still respect your head coach. And that's the way it should always go. Otherwise, I just don't think the team dynamic is really going to work or last for very long. And they've been together for a really long time. So I imagine they have a good enough relationship where Steve Kerr should be able to say to him, what the hell's going on? Like,
maybe they've had such a good relationship because he doesn't. Maybe that's part of the reason of why.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
To run the way that they do. Because he won't necessarily call Draymond out enough to rein him in, and they need him to be that bull in the china shop type behavior.
I think everyone's figured out the Warriors now in terms of, I say the Warriors, everyone's figured out that if you can make sure that you keep and I say it like people have stopped him. No one shut him down. But in terms of if you can slow down Steph Curry enough, especially this season, because like you said, Clay is not performing, Wiggins isn't performing either. Like, you're not getting much from Draymond on the offensive end. Same with Looney as well. You're going to have a good chance of beating this team. Yeah. And I think that's why I kind of look at Steve Kerr and say, to some extent, like, something new has to come from this situation. Yeah. And definitely, Wiggins shouldn't start anymore. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a bad thing.
That's definitely part of the Kerr argument, I think, against him, is that he's always been against necessarily playing a lot of these young guys. Like, now that they need people like Moses Moody to step up,
100%.
They haven't been necessarily getting the reps in to be able to do so. And I think
I saw something interesting last game. Like, obviously 9 seconds to go, they were down 3 against the Suns, and Clay and Wiggins were on the bench. And obviously they missed the 3. So he's trying things, but I think, how can he try this without it getting backlash?
What backlash? Yeah. Be honest, yeah. What's the worst that could possibly happen with him benching Klay Thompson right now?
It's an ego thing as well.
That's what I mean. I think it's a lot of that.
I think Clay's already slightly getting embarrassed by the fact that the contract he wanted, they're not going to give to him, and I think it's well known.
And I think it's the penny's starting to drop for him, that he's realising that, and I think he's frustrated with it. You can see the frustration
100%
bubbling up in
he's just not that good in it. Yeah.
But every trash game he has, the value gets lower and lower and lower.
Exactly. So he's doing himself. He's finished.
But as soon as Clay accepts a bench role, he will not get the contract that he wants. So he needs to keep the ball rolling.
Do you know what? Yeah, I felt bad for him. I remember when he didn't get an All-NBA nod, which meant that his contract was like 30 mil less because Kemba Walker got All-NBA third team instead of him in the guard position.
Yeah.
100% Kemba was 100%, but again, that contract did not like work out very well for anyone. No, but like, if we're being honest, like, yes, Clay was injured for 2 years, but his contract hasn't necessarily panned out amazingly. I just like, if you've had mad career earnings like guys like him, because yes, he missed out on 30 mil total. I think it would have allowed him to get 205 instead of maybe not even that. I think he got 190 instead of like 210 or 220 or something like that. But big man, you still had a 190 mil contract in it. Just take the 10 mil a year for 4 years as your final contract. Bow out politely, bow out respectfully, get the Ray Allen treatment, go to a team and win another ring without Steph. You know, solidify your career. You're already probably gonna make the Hall of Fame anyway, just for being one of the best 3-point shooters, like top 4 3-point shooters of all time. I don't think that's a question. You've won 4 rings. At one point, you were an elite 2-way player in the league. Like, I think you've done everything you need to do.
Yeah.
I just think
Literally.
just at this point, it really is just about saving face, innit? Like, don't go out like Melo, where you want to maintain that position of being one of the better players in the team. Not even on the team, but just in terms of you want that big contract to really come across that you're like one of the alphas on the team. No one cares about that shit anymore. Just. I don't think he does, bro. Think about the amount of videos I've seen of him like paddling his boat to the arena and stuff. He don't strike me as the kind of guy who cares that much about stuff like that. So I'm kind of shocked. Maybe it's about the principle of the things that because I've been with you for this long, I've been loath. I could have gone anywhere else and got a bigger contract. Probably not true as well. But like, and I chose to stay here and you know be on this team. I feel like you should reward me. But people need to understand. I say people. Clay needs to understand that. You showing loyalty to the Warriors is not the same as Steph showing loyalty to the Warriors. 2 very different situations.
I've got 2 questions for you. So one on as a group about the Warriors, then I'm gonna chime back to Draymond quickly in it. As a group, Warriors look like they need to make a trade. Who gets traded from the Warriors right now in order to get a Levine or DeRozan or what also player is out there? But do you reckon it's just Wiggins?
I think he's the only one that makes sense. No one's going to take Clay's contract because he's on 43 mil a year in his last year of his deal. No one's going to take that because it's an expiring deal. You're not going to get value back for it. One place I could see it happening for another 1-year contract is Siakam in Toronto. I think that would change the dynamic for Golden State a lot in terms of they now get a interior scorer and a mid-range kind of guy as well. Who, if they really wanted to do this small ball lineup that they've been loving for X amount of years, Siakam could be your small ball 5, and he's still pretty tall out there as well. But I think really like the Bulls are the team that you're going to make that trade with to get either Levine or DeRozan, and it's going to have to be Wiggins because he's the only one whose contract has. I'm not going to say mad value, but like he's still got years on it, and he's still under 30 as well. I can't see who else they'd be able to trade.
He's got some value to him, but to be honest, I don't think they can really make any trades at the moment.
I agree.
It's one of those things where if they do, it will just completely shift the harmony of the team, even though it's not perfect at the moment. If you bring in someone like Siakam, it's gonna 100% rock the boat with someone like Draymond. They're playing in the same position, and I think making a trade for someone like a Pascal Siakam basically signals to the original core, the Draymonds, the Clays, that you know this era is over. You're going to be 100% transitioning away from that. I think a trade for someone like, even if they traded like Wiggins for Siakam for argument's sake, that says we're moving in a new direction. You are not being signed again. Like unless you're going to take a massive pay cut, and like the Warriors will be moving in a new direction. And I think if they do that, it shows that they're going to be completely scaling down. They're going to be moving away from that core. And I don't think that. I think this may be one of the last teams that are willing to just sort of grandfather in these contracts and go, you know what, pull a bit of a Kobe at the Lakers and just say, we're willing to just be crap for you guys to play out your career. We'll rebuild when you're done. I don't know if they're going to do anything but that, to be honest, because they kind of have to be loyal to the dynasty. I don't think that they would do anything else.
I know we've got to move on, but quickly, based on what you said, I agree with what you said. However, I feel like Steph is still too good for that to happen. That's the only. I think if Steph was if
declining,
if they start seeing Steph declining, they'll be fine with just saying, okay, cool, we're gonna ride out the rest of these contracts. You guys are gonna retire to maybe not retire together. I don't think they'll all have the same timeline, but that will be like when Steph's done. That's when this ship is done. Yeah. But because he's still good and productive, like
he's top 5 player in the league.
And I honestly just don't see him leaving as well. Like what reasons do he have? Like he's built a family there. I imagine he's got hella property. Most of his business is there. Like Silicon Valley is there as well. Like it makes zero sense. I imagine he's a major investor in that area as well. So I don't really see why he'd leave. Plus he's still good. He's still very good. So I reckon they're still in a position where they're like, if we can maybe let Clay walk and somehow get rid of Draymond after all of this, then maybe they're in a position to be able to get at least one player who could. Because I don't think teams need to have like a big three anymore.
No.
Most of the time when teams have big threes, it doesn't really look like it works.
2.5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you just need one guy who's willing to defer, not so much defer, but take a lesser role. You need an elite superstar, one guy who's prepared to take a much lesser role, like average around 15 and get some rebounds or get some assists, and then one other guy who's just a scorer. And I think it will work.
I have a question I want to pose before we move on. So obviously Jay Williams on ESPN was saying Draymond should be getting 15 to 20 games suspension. I'm gonna ask you guys each. We'll go very quickly. Fire. How many games and why? Quickly, not even why. How many games should Draymond Green get suspended for? Start with you, Cam. We go right to left.
25.
25.
Yeah, 25. You're gonna ask. You have to ask
I have
right
to
now.
ask
then.
right now.
Okay,
Why is it
yeah.
so excessive? I have to ask this so the people.
Precedent. I feel like to some extent, Draymond has been given beyond too many chances in this situation. The consistent ejections and the consistent suspensions for things that have nothing to do with basketball. Bear in mind, he punched Jordan Poole. He stomped on Sabonis's ribs. Yeah. Then he put Rudy Gobert in a headlock. Yeah, and now you're telling me he's punched Yusuf Nurkic as well. And the longest suspension he had in all of that was 5 games. That the league implemented was 5.
His ankles,
so that means I'm gonna step on your ribs.
Obviously, I'm not saying it gives him the pathway to do that.
Bro, just bear in mind, Draymond's like what 6'6", 240. That's you could legit break someone's ribs doing that, innit? I'm being very dramatic, but I'm just saying that's why 25 games.
Right. I would say 10 games, and I think anything more than that, you're putting the whole Warriors season at risk, to be honest. And I think for that reason, for competitiveness, they can't really go more than 10, but there needs to be at least more than 5 because the president was set with 5, not with anything else.
For a headlock.
Yeah. I thought that should have been 10.
I can't believe we're talking about this.
That should have been 10. Yeah. But now that the bar's been set at 5, they need to go above. Yeah. And I think they've done the right thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10 as well, man. Like, anything more than that, I mean, if you really want to prove a point, cool, go 11 or 12. But I think 10 to 12 games, I'm not gonna say. I think 20 plus is just way too much. I'm just like, nah, man. Like, he held bro. He got swing. People get swung every day. Bro, the NBA.
Let me quickly. Ja didn't break a law by brandishing the gun, right? He didn't break a law. He just made the league look bad. But Draymond literally just assaulted someone.
His
physicality, man.
Bro, that is assault. That is assault. What Ja did was off the court, yeah, and it wasn't illegal. What Draymond did was illegal, but it was on the court. And you're telling me that Draymond's suspension shouldn't equal at least what Ja did?
I'm not gonna say that wasn't assault, but
that's assault, bro.
Technically, by the letters of the law, innit?
Well, it wasn't.
This isn't even the first assault. This season, bro. This month, basically in a 4-week span. This isn't the first. Come on, man. Come on.
It's why I think we have to go above 10. Like, for me, it has
15.
To me, it has to be around that 15 at minimum mark for me.
I want him in Alcatraz, bro.
Wow.
Send that boy to Guantanamo Bay.
I just think, like, just quickly finishing up, I think it has to be like a 15 plus suspension, because you're looking at it and it's the repeated accounts, and you're looking at other suspensions that players have had and what's gone on. Like, you have young players coming into the league. You have to make it clear, look, you can't swing on nobody, because you're gonna get some time out of this. What you don't want is a reoccurring thing where I only miss 5 games if I swing on somebody because Draymond did. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you need to set it from now so it's a thing that doesn't happen again. And I think 15 games for me.
That's fine. Okay. We'll see what's gonna happen with Draymond in the coming few days or so. Even though he did punch Nurkic, that was the wrong target. The real person you should punch is all these NBA officials, because they need to get swung. I don't know if putting that striped shirt is making them lose their head, but it's like they're demanding too much respect and power. It makes no sense. You can't do anything now without getting a tech. Like, you can't even talk to them. If you think about it, like, when it comes to football now, if now people are arguing with refs, they're really allowed to have some sort of dialogue and, go back. It's cool. NBA, as soon as you breathe on them, tech. As soon as everything is a foul, everyone's getting like ejected from the game. Everyone's getting technical fouls. It's just causing a lot of issues, and Adam Silver really needs to do something. But what do you guys think about how the NBA officiating has been? Because I think it's epidemic, personally. And for me, find the way to live and do what you got to do.
To be honest, I think it's definitely getting out of hand with how they've been, especially when it comes to the conversations. I think there's been a couple the past week with Nikola Jokic, the Trae Young one as well.
Yeah.
I think we're just having a mild conversation with the referees getting players thrown out, star players as well. People and this is going to end up ruining the NBA product if it continues in this way, because people are going to see star players. You're not going to see bench players when you go to watch an NBA game, and I think they're at risk of actually hurting themselves by allowing this to continue. And I think with that, there's probably, I assume you'd like to think there's some sort of in-house conversations being had with the way that the amount of media coverage that this is now getting. I think that's where I would hope to see it's going. But yeah, I think it's personally just ridiculous at the moment.
So I'm reading this now, and it's saying that there was an interview with like one of the referees, I believe. I think it was the referee anyway.
That's what they want. Camera time.
No, I think you're right. So it was the chief crew spoke with someone at NBC, and the reporter asked, what did Nikola Jokic do or say to warrant the first technical foul? The guy said, to be clear, Jokic was ejected after one technical foul because he directed profane language at the official that by our standards warranted an ejection. So, because it's subjective, it kind of gives the officials creative license to say, if that offends me, I can eject you if I want to.
That's the problem.
But I think the Scott Foster situation alone should be enough of an indication that referees really just take it upon themselves to do and act however they feel in the game, regardless of precedent or what the letter of the law says. Because if we're being honest, yes, I think NBA players probably shouldn't swear at referees because they're human beings, and the same way that NBA players don't like when fans are talking mad stuff to them, saying the craziest stuff. NBA players shouldn't be saying that to referees. However, in a lot of cases that I've seen recently anyway, of players getting technical fouls, they're just having conversations with the referees. And the rest are being sassy and saying, nope, I don't want to talk to you. Stop coming up to me. Stop talking to me. Da-da-da. Quinn Snyder, in the instance where Trae Young got a tech, also got a tech. Yep. And Quinn Snyder got a technical for saying, what did he do? I think there has to be some level of accountability, and if a player gets a technical foul, the referee has to have a valid reason for providing that. And I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know what process that will be implemented from, because I think people are already a bit upset with how long it takes in terms of challenging, in terms of like the start and stop of the game. They don't want too. It's like VAR. People are complaining it takes too long to do. Same thing with a challenge at NBA. However, if we're talking about the prevention of a player getting ejected for swearing at a referee, or for a player having a conversation with a ref and saying, I don't understand what I did, can you please explain to me? And the ref's like, no, go away. I think you should always have to have, like, we're not children talking to our parents where your parents just say, because I said so. It doesn't work like that in this. Do you understand? They should always have to provide valid reasoning behind the decisions they made, because those decisions then impact the rest of the game.
It's the inconsistency as well.
And that's the problem I have at the minute. It's like one ref will say something and the other ref would, like, do you know what I mean? It's just opinionated at the minute. Right, is that the word? But to try
English.
and the laughers. But to go on to what you were saying, Cam, I've got a few things to say about this. So, literally, you're talking about Jokic getting ejected. If this was against Chicago, if I'm right. Yeah. So I was just reading that Chicago is actually the biggest, the second largest Serbian population in the world outside of Belgrade. So this is where most Serbians would watch. They will come to the game to watch Jokic.
Yeah.
This is hit. So you're not understanding. You've ejected someone based off a potential swear word. Yeah. In a place where a lot of people have probably come down to watch the best player that is their country's probably ever had. And you've ejected him based off that. So you've ruined everyone that came their night based off you, and in that moment, your pride and your ego as a referee. Like, I'll just be honest. I'm looking at a lot of the stats of the ejections this season. It's 22 ejections so far this season. There were 75 last year, including the playoffs. Yeah. Some of the ejections are deserved. We're not going to hide. Like,
say that again, sir.
22 ejections this far.
So far this season, yeah.
And we haven't played 25 games.
Boy.
22.
And you said last year was 75.
Last year was 75, including the playoffs.
Wow. Okay.
And so I'll name you some of the guys that have been ejected. Obviously, Draymond Green we just spoke about. Well deserved. No one here's gonna sit and say that. That was a ref's fault.
He did that shit. He did that.
But he's guilty.
Isaiah Stewart, I imagine.
But you got Jokic twice now.
Okay.
Giannis.
Yeah.
Is this
JJJ. This is this season.
Okay,
right now. JJJ, Chris Paul, DeRozan, Tatum, Brown, Murray, Trae Young.
Jesus Christ.
These are all players that are all-stars. That everyone I've read out to you are all-stars.
Yes.
Some are superstars and some have won MVPs. Like, you're not understanding what the level of caliber of player you are throwing out. And a lot of these ejections, I've seen them, are things that are clearly opinionated. Like, even yesterday, we played the Lakers we played the
Spurs.
Mavs. So 2 days ago now.
Yeah.
So on our first of our back-to-back, we played the Mavs. Tim Hardaway Jr. did a runway dunk, hanged for less.
I wouldn't even say that's a hang, to be honest.
That was hardly.
Making sure
That was
safety.
safety.
You can see he's looking around. There's no one. I'll drop.
He was making sure he was safe.
And he runs back. We've called a timeout because clearly it's like we're focusing on the game.
Yeah.
Not a single Laker player or any official on our side even tried to say, like, looked to try and make that was a technical gesture. Like, nobody. Everyone was like, oh, they got the dot. Like, let's go back and get back to the drawing board. The ref's out of nowhere. Tech, bro.
Do you want players to fall down and break their head?
And then you're happy. What? Like, I don't understand what is going on right now, because we've had this discussion a couple times this season, but it's becoming sillier and sillier. And we spoke about previously in our segment about Steve Kerr potentially not giving the Draymond holding him accountable. It's exact same thing that's happening with the league and these referees. Referees will make poor decisions each and every game, and guess what? They're back the next night. You're not seeing nothing.
Bunch of XL bullies, man.
And you spoke about that, and it's true, because to me, it's like if you have an agenda, like we clearly saw with Scott Foster and Chris Paul, he walked into that game with an agenda, knowing that he was ready. Like, he was ready.
As soon as Chris Paul says anything to him, it's going to be out. He's gonna.
And you can't live a world whereby you're trying to do your job. You know there's a bit of hostility between you and a referee. But unfortunately, people come out to watch players like Chris Paul. He's one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game. He's a Hall of Famer. You're ejecting so many world-class quality players. The best of the best is what the NBA is about. For what?
Okay. I agree with what you're saying. I just want to make sure we're being careful in terms of, you're not saying because they're this good they don't deserve to be ejected.
Absolutely
it's just
not.
what they're doing does not warrant the ejection, and the fact that you're ejecting great players or players that people have literally left their house for, people who have spent their hard-earned money to go and see, they're getting ejected for pointless reasons. That makes it much more. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and
right?
that's literally what this whole segment is about. Like, you have to make it very clear that it doesn't mean that the players are always right.
Let's say people are above the law.
No.
Yeah.
And the refs are correct on a lot of decisions. But what we're trying to, some of the decisions, I'll say. But some of the decisions, but a lot of what they are ejecting people for is just personal. And to me, that's whereby the level of unbiased, like we always know, like, referees are meant to remain impartial. Like, you can't support a certain team. We spoke about it the other time. Like, you can't, it has to be a level of, like, you are as a ref.
When you think about it, it's literally, I think that's literally impossible. I find it incredibly hard to believe, that you're an NBA referee and you don't support a single team. And if you do support a single team, you're going to be one. Like, yes, you have to declare it or anything like that, but you can have agendas against players that used to play for your team, that used to kill your team. Can you imagine, So, for instance, like, if let's say, I'm trying to think of a player who killed a team. Let's say Trae Young, for instance, Let's say a ref is a Knicks fan, right? And then Trae Young is not playing the Knicks, but the ref who puts the Knicks name is on that game, that Trae's playing against any. Let's say Trae's playing against San Antonio, for instance. You're telling me that ref is going to be completely unbiased and impartial to the fact that he doesn't like Trae Young, when the whole of New York was saying fuck Trae Young. When Trey was doing the chili celebration when he crushed their playoff dreams. You can't. This is the point I'm trying to make. Like, it doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense. I think with the way AI is going as well, refs are going to become very, very. Like, no, 100%. Because you can't tell me, that they have better vision or they're going to be able to see the game in a different way to the way a robot would be able to see the game. If you program the robot, to say this is a foul, that is not a foul, how long is it going to take?
Well, maybe 2,100. But
do you think we're that far away? We're already using VAR though, isn't it? Like,
I'm just saying, like, there's going to be human elements of decision making involved. But outside of that, I think it's just touching on what you were saying in terms of the bias. I think the NBA needs to be doing a better job of making sure that making sure that referees that may have had inherent biases on one way or the other need to be keep away from those games. Like, there should never ever be another instance where Scott Foster is refereeing a game that Chris Paul is playing. Like, this is something that has been well documented, and they've even had conversations directly with one another. It's well known, and the fact that we can have Chris Paul's in how many years has he been playing? 16?
He got drafted in 05 or 6.
05, 06. So 16, 17
He got drafted in 06.
And there should, and in 2023, there should be no way that Scott Foster is anywhere near a Chris Paul game. Knowing the history, but that's something that I think.
And there's enough refs as well. It's not that there's 10 refs. Exactly.
They travel
there's
just
enough
as much as
referees.
the players. Like, there needs to be a little bit of a sensible approach to this.
And the missed calls as well, the 2-minute incident reports. We missed this. It gets on my nerves. I hate those things because, like, you missed it. Make the change. On top of that, I think as well, when refs make poor decisions, make these mistakes, or if they can't certify and give a good reason on why the player is being ejected, like, if they're being ejected, the player should be able to ask why. The coach should also be able to understand why as well, because obviously the coach has to make adjustments. If there's no clear explanation, they should be able to file a report to the NBA. It has to go through that way. And if they are found guilty, then also, I'm telling you now, if the NBA start finding refs for making these mistakes and doing crazy, wait a minute. No, but I'm saying, if it's outrageous, I'm not saying for them to get fined the same as NBA players, but I'm saying, okay, cool, I'm going to take extra 100 at your wage because you're moving mad.
How much do you think these guys make? I don't know how much they make. They probably make a lot, don't get me wrong.
It's a lot.
I reckon they're on 6 figures, but like 100, that's a lot.
To be honest, like, as soon as
$100 or 100 grand?
Or $100. Or obviously, or if they, let's say, I don't know, maybe if they... Is it mad if I say no? But even let's go in. Suspend them. Okay. Miss a game. All right, cool.
Maybe getting carried away. Egregious situations.
Yeah, no, I'm saying for the outrageous ones.
Outrageous ones. They need to be having.
Also, the guy who was always refereeing Celtics games. What's his name again? Eric. Is it Eric? Was it Eric?
The beanhead one.
Yeah. Bro, come on. What's going on here?
Maybe he made that.
Is it Bienemy? No, that's a head coach.
I know you're talking about that.
That's it, man. Wait, Rodney. The thing is, I don't agree with what you're saying because I do and I don't agree. I don't agree with the finding thing. Obviously, that's not going to happen, or the suspensions. I think one way that I think would actually work if you do it, if there's a point system for referees, right? And I think everyone starts on, let's say, 100, and as throughout the season, for every missed call you make, you get a -1 or something like that. And by the end of the season, the referees that don't have a certain baseline of a points total cannot then ref in the playoffs, and this will affect the games that you get next year as well. I think that's the only way it makes sense because
they need to be evaluating them to
100%. Like, at the end of the day, if I'm shitting my job, my employer is going to tell me I'm shitting my job, innit?
Yeah.
And I feel like it should work that way in near enough every stream of employment, including referees. I understand, they get a lot of flack from the fans, a lot of flack from the teams and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, no one's got a gun to their head saying, you need to officiate this NBA game today. Like, big man, you chose to make this decision. You're now responsible for making the right decisions throughout the game. And no one's going to care if you make 99 great calls if you miss one massive one at the end. And I understand it's a very unrewarding job, but again, no one forced you to do it.
It's a thankless job, and I think the main issue is as soon as we know a referee's name, they're already doing too much.
Yeah.
That's very true,
Yeah, it's true.
They're supposed to be in the background making sure that the game is played. I should not know who Scott Foster is.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tony Brothers.
You should not know a single referee's name.
It's true though.
And the fact that we're even having this conversation shows that they need to make a change.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So hopefully Adam Silver can do something about this officiating problem, but we will see. So recently, unfortunately, saying miserably. So yeah, a team called the Los Angeles Lakers
The champs.
won the in-season
Man didn't
tournament.
just say the champ.
The cup champs, baby.
Now, there was
Hey,
the thing is,
out here.
they were spraying champagne bottles.
Deserve it.
As they should.
Yeah.
Nah,
deserve
I
it.
mean,
They should.
Let's enjoy it.
No, they should. Minnesota was celebrating harder than them when they won that play. Yeah, man. What? I'm not mad at the Lakers for enjoying that, man.
Let us enjoy.
Everyone else who won it, like if Indiana won that, they would have been going crazy over there.
yeah, they were going
Running through the cornfields, going crazy, man. Going crazy.
But yeah, the Lakers won the in-season tournament.
Oh,
and
they didn't hear you. Can you say it one more time?
the Lakers
Yeah.
won the in-season tournament.
Love it.
Anthony Davis put on a show, and there's reports saying that you guys are planning to hang that banner.
Should.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
That's
Nah.
terrible.
Kobe even said, like, there's a video of Kobe saying, we don't hang. And obviously
It's
it
a
didn't exist.
championship banner.
It's not.
It is a
it's a
cup.
cup.
I'm
It's a cup.
not hating, bro, because I wish the Clippers
I'm
won
just
that.
saying.
I'm not hating. I wish the Clippers won that, innit? But at the end of the day, I just feel like for the reputation you've had, so question. When you rank like this NBA Cup, is it better, worse, or the same as winning the Western Conference?
I would say it's adjacent. It's hard. You can't really. It's not. You're comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think you can.
But
Yeah,
if
you
I
can't.
had
worse.
if I had a gun to your head and you had to make a decision, yeah, is it a bigger accomplishment to make the NBA Finals or to win the NBA Cup?
NBA.
What would you prefer? Actually, let me just ask you the question. Which one?
NBA Finals, obviously.
All right. And you guys do not hang Western Conference
no,
Championship
but then
banners.
this is a cup. You've won it. It's a trophy you have won.
You won the Western Conference.
No, but
you get a trophy for that.
And they're not hanging those banners.
You're not understanding. No, they are in the arena though. But they're not hanging.
Kobe told me personally that you man do not hang
You gotta sit
there.
down combo with it.
No, but I'll be honest. Look, we won. We played like we 7-0 in the tournament.
Very, very impressive.
Inaugural tournament. Like we did what we had to, and I think you're looking at the whole thing of it. Like LeBron and AD showed that when the games matter, they can do it again. Like, and I feel like we saw it during the Golden State series, but I feel it was a bit lost because of how good the Nuggets were in our series, and also LeBron wasn't healthy in it.
The greatness of Jokic.
Like Jokic, Murray, mainly what Jokic was doing, but also like people that question LeBron, look at the guy now and you can't tell me there's a difference in what he was playing in the playoffs and now. The guy's fit and healthy and is moving mad.
And it's a different ball game because it's a tournament style.
Yeah, one game.
Yeah.
And I think the Lakers showed that they've still got it in a one game situation.
And that's where I'm most proud of them because it's like for us, like especially AD and LeBron, they've won a championship together. They've got obviously the Western Conference Finals last year. That impetus to win this isn't as high as someone like an Indiana or some other teams that haven't won anything together as a group or a duo, you know. So I give full credit to both of them, and we delivered, and that's the main thing. That we've won it. Nobody will ever be the first to win it. To me, it allows us to have something else for the roster, and it gives. For example, we all know that everyone gets 500k. There's some guys that would never have seen
tax. It's like
no, but some guy like I was reading some of our like rookies or some of our two-way players that they've never seen that money in their life. They don't know when they're ever going to get it. And LeBron didn't play hard or AD didn't play hard. Pause for themselves. They've got that money. They're playing. They're balling hard. Of course, it's extra money. It's
LeBron
great.
definitely said he wanted that.
yeah.
No, he does, isn't it? Extra money.
I think I saw quotes of people of some of the rookies saying, "Oh, LeBron was like, I'm gonna get this one for you."
For you, and that's he's a
I
billionaire.
respect that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Literally,
Like,
like,
500k, 500k.
This will help you guys out. This it's for some of the players, like some of the people when they're on these two ways and stuff, they may not actually touch the NBA courts again after this season or the next, and that money can be life changing for some of these.
And it is life changing. And you're looking at it, it's like going to win that, and we beat some good teams on the way. Like, we're gonna sit here and lie, and I think beating the Phoenix Suns, Indiana were the hottest team in the tournament outside.
I have
of
to give
us.
you credit for that.
Yeah.
I have to give you
They
credit
were
for
very
that.
good.
They was
defended them
moving.
very, very well.
Mad.
They locked Halliburton up very well.
Yeah, I think we negated him a lot more in terms of like how
Vando
like,
was
just,
on him, right? Was
we had,
Vando on him
we had
most
a
of the
lot of
game?
players on him. to
It
be
was
fair.
mainly Cam Reddish, actually.
Yeah, Reddish.
Yeah, no, he's
His
It was
redemption
actually
arc
mainly
is
Cam
serious.
Reddish. He was
But it-
marking him, picking him up full court, and it really bothered
He's a good-
Halliburton, who's normally just trying to sprint down the court in 3 seconds.
Yeah, and then make them passing lanes very
So
quickly.
They were locking him up very well.
Yeah, so I'm proud of them. I think it's nice to win something again. I mean, I've again on the pod for 4 years next year, and I'm the only one that's won, but I've won both. So here we are, boys. Is anyone else gonna win? I'm waiting, boys. It's like, what's happening? I keep winning. I'm tired. Something else for me to win, you know. So what we're gonna try and do is win another ring, you know, the one that counts according to everyone else. And you see, we've got 18-1 now. So it's like now 19. But like it's like zeros all across the board here. So yeah, man. But when you move to a new stadium, Kai, I hope you have something to hang.
So do I. So
Maybe next year's NBA Cup.
Yeah, Kai, go for it, man. You might like it.
I hope the 4 guys on my team are not on my team next year, and I mean that with all seriousness.
Really?
I don't know.
You know what?
They're all on expiring deals, and they don't need to come back.
Wow.
I'll be interested to see how that pans out. To be honest. I think this season's make or break, basically.
Yeah. Let me talk about your Lakers. I was quite surprised, to see that LeBron won MVP, because I was like, AD's last like few games have been very good, you know. He had the 40 and was it 41 and 20 or 40 and 21 in the final game.
Yeah.
Either way, he absolutely assaulted Miles Turner all night.
He did it. He fouled out.
Yeah, he did.
He fouled him out.
He just humbly fouled out like.
Bro.
He had to foul. He was just using.
AD might have been Draymond in that moment. Like he was going in, bro. He was going in.
Miles Turner literally tried to throw him to the floor.
Yeah.
At 6th foul as well.
There just wasn't much you could do with AD, and I think this is for one. If I was a Lakers fan, I'd be very, very happy to see that AD's showing up when it matters, like you said, Jules. I think one of the biggest problems that everyone's had with AD is that not only is he not at his full potential or not playing as well as you know he can play, but he's still allowing LeBron to carry the mantle for that team and be the best player in that team. When really, like we said it before, next year LeBron will be 40 years old. And can you confidently tell me that LeBron at age, he's 39 in December, he's 40 next year.
40 next year, yeah, right.
So can you confidently tell me that next year LeBron will not still be the best player in this team?
It's crazy.
I'm giving 100% credit to LeBron. But Anthony Davis, this could be you, because LeBron has definitely dropped off a little bit. Since I say a little bit, LeBron has noticeably dropped off in his production, in his athleticism, in everything since he's been at the Lakers. Anyway, like you can notably see it, and I don't understand why this what should have been Anthony Davis's prime, which is Anthony Davis' prime, he has not taken that. However,
I need to come back to you on that point.
Okay.
After.
However, I have to give him credit for showing up in these games, because when they needed him most, when the opportunity was there to win a I don't know if you're gonna call it a ring, win the NBA Cup.
Yeah, I call it just a cup, right?
Yeah.
NBA Cup.
To
the name's sort of growing.
Yeah. I like that as well. I like that aspect of it. But so I looked at LeBron stats. LeBron averaged 26.4, 8 rebounds, 7.6 assists, 1.6 steals. The thing that's crazy is he did it all in 30 minutes. Shooting 56.8% from the field, 60.6% from 3. Obviously, it's 7 games. However, that's a crazy
7 games.
Yeah.
Over a 7-game period,
60%
didn't it?
from-
Yeah.
No,
It's because they were win or go. Once they got to win or go home, he's not going to miss.
Stop listening it. Yeah, just chimes
that's
in.
what the
Like.
GOAT does.
And they still want to doubt him.
That's what the GOAT does. AD had 23.3 points, 14.6 rebounds, which I'm more impressed with than the points. 3.7 assists, 1 steal, 2.9 blocks, which is very impressive. 33 minutes, which is not very minutes. Also shooting 52% from the field. I think if AD's points were, I'd say if AD had 25, he probably would have won MVP. To be honest,
I think he should have regardless.
Because of the
Just watching him play, he's just completely shutting down the other team, and he's doing it. His two-way play at the moment.
I'd agree.
Is insane.
It's mad,
I
innit?
agree.
Yeah.
He's a defensive player of the year candidate for sure, and he was bringing it in those in-season tournament games. To to be honest, I think maybe it's because of the position that he's in as the centre. He's very paint bound now. I think that's probably making him be valued less, maybe on a global scale. Maybe I think maybe because it was the very first in-season tournament, and it seems like give it to LeBron because he's LeBron. I think that maybe had a little bit more to play in it than it should have. A little bit like Jimmy Butler getting the.
Don't get him started. Don't get him started.
No, he agrees with me, bro. He agrees with me.
Like Jimmy Butler, like because of the name, it's a name brand.
Yeah, man.
I think there's a bit more. Of
They can't give that to Caleb Martin.
Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine the
That's true,
history
isn't it?
books looking back and seeing
Eastern
who won?
Conference.
The history books going?
It'll be wilder than-
LeBron making it for the very first one makes more sense. The same way that Jimmy Butler
Yeah, man.
making it makes more sense.
Look what happened to Steph when Iguodala won the Finals MVP. Steph didn't
You know what I
get it for
mean?
like.
And people never let Steph Curry
Exactly,
forget that
man.
he did not win that
It
final.
makes
not
it makes a
yeah.
difference, but
Yeah.
no, I like the point you made as well. Because I'll be honest, LeBron was great throughout the whole thing, and we saw the efficiency like crazy. But 40 and 20 in a final
Yeah.
game is insane stats for it to not win MVP for the tournament. Obviously, they both made the all tournament team as well, which is yeah, man. I'm happy that this situation has worked out though, because we said it last week. We said it week in, week out since it started, since it even got announced that this was a good idea, just to make it a bit more interesting earlier in the league. And it's definitely done its job. And I think a lot of guys next year, they already start talking about how next year they're thinking about changing the incentive to be a playoff position.
I don't
Guaranteed.
like that. I don't like that.
I disagree with that as well.
I think it should guarantee a play-in position. If you guarantee at most a play-in, then at least you still have to work to get into the playoffs.
Because imagine you could win the NBA Cup and then just tank the rest of the season.
Sack off.
And you're in the
No,
play.
okay, so that's where they have to change it then. Incentivize them with the... Yeah, it is a play-in. I'd maybe even give them 6th, 7th or 8th.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
the winner
I mean.
gets 7th, because I think it's pointless to give them 9th or 10th. I think the real value would be if you give them 7th. If you give them 7th, still has to play the first. Yeah, give them 7th and give them 2 opportunities in the play-in to win a game and go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Even still, I would.
You think that's too much?
I think that I would disagree with that as well, because
I think there should be a minimum game cap though. Minimum game, so you have to win a
Nah,
minimum.
because it gets too difficult at that point, too
I
complicated.
think you just have to win a minimum of like 40 games or something.
If you win 40 games, you're most likely going to make the play. Sorry to interrupt.
But
You're most likely going to make the
that's
play
what
in.
you should
Anyway.
incentivize them though.
But then how's that incentive? If you're already going to make the play in, like the incentive kind of disappears. Like you look at a team like Indiana, for instance, right? Yes, Indiana played very well up to this point, but we've seen teams start off very, very hot. Like last year it was Utah, and they didn't even end up making the play-in tournament. So I feel like I think they said if we're going to do the incentive, I think it needs to be at least home court advantage for one of the play-in games.
even still, I'm sort of against any of these, to be honest, because I think when it comes to who's the target for this, so when you're talking about in season or playoff spots and stuff, you're talking about teams which maybe would have been on the outside looking in, and to be honest, those teams in this first season's in-season tournament were sorry anyway. Like, this isn't going to incentivize the Spurs anymore because they suck. So what difference does it make whether you give it as a tournament spot or not, or a playoff spot? Sorry, like, I don't think that would necessarily change things too much. I think if anything, just increase the money. I can't think of any other incentive to really get people up. They're competitive enough anyway. As human beings, all of these people that we're talking about are insanely competitive. They don't want to lose.
What about like all-star hosts or something like that?
Something a little bit more creative like that would be a bit more.
Home court advantage?
Maybe it's something where I don't know whether you could do the All-Star game.
Well, the following year you get the. I'm just trying to think of ways, because I think not only do you need to get the players behind it, you need to get the whole organization behind it. Because obviously, like everyone in the coaching staff will be motivated by the fact that you're going to get $500K in your pocket. But if your owner is now saying, no, we need to like these games are some of the most important games, because the money you're generating from All-Star game tickets and stuff like that as well, and you're getting it for what 3-4 days of events worth as well. That's big money. That's especially if you're a smaller market team, where you would probably struggle a lot to sell out unless you're playing against one of the top playoff teams anyway. So maybe that's the way you could lean into.
Would that get Detroit off their ass to win a game?
Probably not. Probably not. That's a real good question.
I don't.
What can incentivize a bad team to win except for winning themselves? Like, it's
It has to come from within, innit? I think that's the
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. That was.
No, because I'm really stuffing myself saying some wild shit about Detroit right now, man. Some wild shit about Detroit right now.
Before we go into that, I wanted to just
Yeah, please.
very quickly, talk about obviously LeBron winning MVP. I know you spoke about that. So I read something very interesting this week, innit? So Monday marked the point that LeBron has played the same amount of games as a Laker as he did as a Heat, which is 294 games. Yeah? You read out Heat LeBron stats and I read out Laker LeBron stats, all right?
It's really interesting.
So Heat LeBron stats, 26.9 points per game, 7.6 rebounds per game, 6.7 assists per game, 1.7 steals, 0.7 blocks per game, 56.7% field goal percentage, 37.9% 3-point, 75% free throw percentage. Laker LeBron, 27.3 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 1.2 steals, 0.7 blocks, 51% from the field, 34.8 from the three, 71% free throw.
And this is a 10-year difference.
crazy.
He's averaging more points, more rebounds, and more assists per game. Like in this 200,
His super
in the-
percentage has to be higher as well, right? Or is it low?
free throw is just a bit
3
lower.
point, 3 point,
3
3
point is just a bit low. It's 37.9 at Miami. And
That's
then
surprising.
34.8
I think a lot of that would be because the Lakers' cast has been worse in terms of a point.
He's had to do more.
He's had to do
Yeah,
more.
he doesn't have a D Wade.
Yeah, he doesn't.
AD hasn't been
AD
like I was saying.
didn't materialize as well. There's been a lot of people that have maybe not come into their position.
And he had seasons without AD when we missed the
Like
actual
Brandon
playoffs.
Ingram.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting, you know.
But it's to me that reason that I needed to mention that is just the fact that I always looked at Miami.
That's peak LeBron.
That's what I always looked at.
That's
It.
peak
Like I
LeBron.
just thought he's untouchable almost. Like he's that good. There is no player better than him. Whilst now
Him. He is better than him.
he is better than him. Whilst now, obviously, there are players that are better than LeBron, and obviously he's still a top 10 player. But the point I'm trying to make is like this guy, like to still be in a position, and this is what I wanted to touch back to him winning MVP in it. Obviously, we could talk about potentially how it could have gone to him or AD, but obviously he did win it, which is the point of it. The respect I have for the guy has even grown more because for me, there wasn't a need or a knack to win this, to prove to anyone anymore that something is to potentially pointless as an NBA Cup. Because obviously the debate between him and MJ about being 1 or 2 is about the rings, really, isn't it?
This will not change it.
That's my
Because
point.
MJ never had an opportunity.
And everyone will say
Exactly.
if he did, MJ would have gone 8-0 in 7 games.
I mean, he wouldn't have lost 100%. He wouldn't have lost.
We don't know.
We will never know. But then,
It's a
one
one
game
series,
thing, so-
you never know.
so the point I'm trying to make is that this was purely selfless, in my opinion, for him to go as hard pause to win it. And I
To
think
be motivated.
I'm motivated. It's money, but obviously it's like legacy-wise, nothing really changes.
I
But
agree.
but it does add slight value to the respect, and I think that's why I wanted to finish this segment. I've got mad respect for the guy because, and even like some of the things he's able to do at his age, like it is like to me, if you don't see him as the GOAT, I don't.
Well, you
don't
say it
get
won't
it.
add anything to his legacy, but we don't know how the NBA Cup will be valued in 30 years.
That's a good
I
point.
mean, we don't know at the moment.
That's
where
a good
so
point,
It could
yeah.
be something. It could be seen as a good investment. That in 30 years' time, LeBron might have been like, oh, and he was the first guy to ever win this cup. Like you don't know where it will sit. But yeah, you've made good points. I say.
Yeah, the GOAT debate is a debate that we will not get into because there's a lot of mixed answers.
Mixed
It's not
answers.
mixed, bro.
It is mixed answers.
It's not mixed.
It is mixed answers.
There's a lot of wrong answers coming coming from around there.
One team that we really need to speak about
Mention them.
who are taking tons
Pits.
of L's.
They just
the
suck,
piss.
bro. They suck.
Like,
Be
The
honest.
Detroit piss.
Yeah, piss.
Pistons. Like, I'm sorry, but what did you pay Monty all that money for?
Bro.
And then it's not like they don't have talent. Yes, they have the R stars in Killian Hayes.
That's wild.
Killian Haynes. You know, who else is an R star on that team?
let's be honest. B Stew is not that great,
He's
bro.
not
Yeah,
coming through.
he.
Wiseman can't get on the
See
ball.
now, Bishu is a person who the refs should target to throw out the game. That's fine. That one there,
He got thrown out the other day.
What, addition by subtraction?
Yes,
Did you see?
exactly.
Did you see he got thrown out for squabbling with Pat Beverly?
I think I did see that. Yeah.
Pat Bev, like in fairness, Pat Bev elbowed him. Should have got a tech
Yeah.
or something for it.
And
B Shoot-
sent him flying on
I
a
think
screen.
he
yeah.
tried to set a screen. And my man just extended his arm to the point where he's
we-
clearing him out, bro.
Not kill me.
But you know, Pat Bev ain't gonna back down, man. So.
Well, I
He
think
spoke about it in his podcast
yeah,
afterwards.
Pat Bev
That's what that
basically
guy does now,
he
isn't it?
baited him in. He baited him into getting
yeah.
thrown out
That's
the
what he
game.
does.
And that was a veteran troll move, basically from Pat Bev.
It's easy to do when you know the guy you're playing against is a head case, bro. Like,
Yeah, true.
I don't think it's
He was at the Lakers when Stuart
When
was
he tried
doing
to kill
his
LeBron.
mad charge, yeah.
Hey, but it's like the talent they have in Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, like
Assault Thompson as well.
I saw it, like he's moving crazy. But what is going wrong? Because you've given Monty one of the biggest coaching deals.
Jimmy Time matches contract is. He's on more than a lot of NBA players.
Like-
6 year, $78.5 million.
For what?
He's getting 13 mil a year, bro.
13 mil to
lose 20
more than 13 times. What's
21,
going on
22
here?
games in a row now.
Wow.
That's like, what's going on? How? I don't understand why the people it has to be tanking. But then you see the team, like you see their team and like they've got talent. They're not going to do anything, but they've still got talent there. But I don't know. Do you guys think this is tanking? Is this poor coaching? Is this issue with the players? Is the whole thing like what's going on?
All of the above. It has to be all of the above. Like I don't know how many Pistons games you guys have watched this season.
Yeah.
Zero.
Me personally, I try to avoid them when I can. But the games that I have seen of them, they look a little lost, to be honest. Like it's a little bit lost.
It's an understatement.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts when they play because they'll have it's Cade walking the ball up. The movement's not really there, and they just sort of
They shoot like shit as well.
They
man.
shoot really poorly. The spacing's off, and they're not getting anywhere. And when you've got someone like Cade who should be doing a little bit better by now, you'd expect.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's not doing so bad. Like he's got what's his stats? Someone get his stats up.
Cameron can get it up.
Yeah.
But I think
Pause.
Hey,
Yo.
hey. This isn't you said get it up a few times.
Wait, do
See what Australian tap board does to you.
So for the season, he's averaging 22 points on 42% from the field, 32% from three, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.2 blocks.
to be honest, when the team's playing that poorly, to be honest, their star player stats means nothing because someone's got to score a bucket eventually. So it doesn't really mean that much. I think it really comes down to them just trying to gel as a team, and I don't think it's going to happen as it is. I think they probably need to make some of these changes already.
What would you say? What changed?
I think
Stop-
the personnel needs to change.
Stop playing Killian Hayes.
There needs
stop.
to be some.
Take him off. Take him
some
100%.
some decisions made where, like, coming from my perspective, as an OKC fan, I've watched a lot of bad basketball in the past few years before this season with the OKC team, and they had players come in, they wouldn't be that good, and then they'd get rid of them.
That's what a good team does. That's what a good team does.
That's what a
Yeah,
rebuild
yeah.
is for. You're not rebuilding and going, oh, we drafted this guy.
Yeah.
He's not that good. You can try to develop him, and then if he's not working, you put him in the G League. Like we had players like Usman Jiang, yeah?
Yep.
And he's barely touched an NBA court because he spends all of his time in the G League.
That's what he should be doing,
He
man.
was, I think they drafted him 11th or something. Like he was supposed to be very, very good, and he is, but he's not ready for the NBA. So you send him away, you get someone to replace him. I don't think that Detroit are really moving in that direction properly yet. Where they need to make the decisions. They're getting too attached to the players they draft, and they're not good enough at the moment.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And I
That's
think that's a core issue.
I think you're right in what you literally just said, that they are getting too attached, because when you're looking at the way their team has been constructed, it's a lot of players that have been there that haven't kind of worked out, but they're trying to give them another chance. They're trying to see maybe he'll make a breakthrough this season, maybe. And he based it off probably a couple games that last season where certain players might have got 25 points or 30 points or gone on a 3 to 4 game run where they looked really good. So they
Like Jaden Ivey.
literally like Jaden Ivey. So you're like, he might come good. Let's give him another go. But what is happening is we are witnessing one of the worst NBA records. Like we are on the cusp of history for the wrong.
About to see the Bobcats part 2.
Literally, and like I can read you out the top. I think we've got the top 8 here. So the Bobcats is 23 games.
Win 1.
2012, 23 games in a row that they lost.
Oh, they lost.
2012. Yeah, you've got the Nuggets tied on 20. The Nuggets are also tied in 97, 98, 23 games. Vancouver Grizzlies, 96, 23 games. Cleveland Cavaliers, 1982, 24 games. 76ers, 26 games, 2014. Here goes to the final 2. Cavaliers in 2010, 2011, once LeBron James left.
Yeah, that was when they got Kyrie the year after, yeah.
26 games in a row. And the 76ers, 28 games in 2015. It's the longest losing streak.
I think the Pistons, although they are losing a lot, I think they're taking a lot of the flack for the 2 other teams which are also losing a lot of.
No, but we can't ignore. I mean, let me finish this quickly because I want to read you out who they're playing next to just finish and understand where's this win gonna come from. They got the 76ers,
Yeah. L.
Bucks,
L.
Hawks,
L.
Utah.
Any team except for the other 2 really bad teams are probably going to.
That's what I mean.
They still lost to
Brooklyn, Brooklyn back to back.
Yeah. L.
Boston,
L.
Toronto.
I know where their win will come.
Please tell me.
One of these teams is going to rest all their guys.
Yeah.
And then there'll be one Cade Cunningham game where he'll go off.
He'll have like 40 or
He'll
something
finally
like
have a career high of probably 25.
Nah, you're not rating him. You're not rating him. That's deep, man.
Rory's coming from Australia on smoke.
You're taking a piss.
That's where it
Wait,
will come.
so
I don't know where they're gonna win.
So I got basketball reference up because I wanted to understand. So this is their youngest team they've ever had, with an average age of 23.1 years. So you could say part of the fact that they're shit is down to the fact they haven't got vets on their team.
Apart from Bogdanovic,
Yeah, like one vet who I'll be honest, I don't see where the fit is in terms of like there's a thing about having vets. I don't think he's ever cared about half the shit like that, innit? Like
he's a 20-point per game when he was in his peak. He'd just be at the pace.
100%.
Some points and that was
like
go home.
if I'm Detroit,
Yeah.
the vets I'm looking at are Patrick Beverley. Yeah, and I'm not saying that Pat Bev is a role model. However, I think Detroit haven't got any heart, bro. I think they give up so easily in their games. I think their mentality as well, like this whole, and I think part of it is that definitely down to Monty. However, I saw Monty Williams turn the Phoenix Suns into the Phoenix Suns of today. You know, I remember that
They had a Devin Booker. Cade Cunningham is not.
I'm not saying no. However, the year that Devin Booker, when they were in the bubble and they won those 8 straight games, you cannot tell me, that roster wise, that team were 100 hands in. Like you say, if they played 10 times, they're winning all 10 of those games against the Detroit Pistons team because they had flaws to them as well. They had a lot of younger guys who didn't necessarily have a lot of experience playing the game. Now you look at it, maybe I'm talking shit to be fair because they still had Ayton, they still had. Mikal Bridges
enough. They had a lot of losing seasons.
But do you not think it's
coming to that point?
It's similar to this team though in terms of think about it. Right, so let me just read out Detroit's last 5 seasons in terms of wins: 20, 20, 23, 17, and now they're on 2 wins. Obviously, the season doesn't finish it, but the most wins they've had in the last 5 years is 23.
Wow.
This team, this franchise, this city, all they know is L's.
Detroit's not doing too well. I think the only time they've even sniffed the playoffs was when Blake Griffin had to destroy his knee for them to get.
Oh my god!
That was the only time they actually got anywhere near.
Yep, 100%. They're currently shooting a team. They're shooting 33.8% from the 3 as a team, 46% from the field. They're shooting 79. Too fair. I can't lie. Historically, this team are. I don't know what the rest of the team's saying. They're not great free throw shooters as a team either. And they're averaging the most turnovers they've had in. I'm looking on here. This thing goes back years. Yeah. I'd say for at least the last close to 25 years, the most turnovers they've ever had.
Which is what?
16.7 per game. Yeah.
It's
Wow.
bad, but
That's a lot of turnovers.
I think between them,
That's a lot.
between them, the Spurs and the Wizards, I think they're very unfortunate that they're also coming into this really terrible run of play when there's a lot of good teams around as well. Like
The quality of league has definitely
the quality
improved.
of the league
Yeah.
at the moment is so high,
A lot more balanced.
and there's just a few teams. Basically, those three teams have no chance really of winning any game.
Nothing.
Like, I want to read something out. Yeah,
They're getting waxed by everyone.
The Pistons, Spurs, and Wizards are one of 54
Jeez!
over their last 55 combined games.
Oh!
The only win in this stretch was Wizards winning against the Pistons.
Oh!
That is the only time.
Oh!
This is why I kept trying to say like this is
Okay.
It's unfortunate for the Pistons that they started losing 1 or 2 games before the other 2 teams. if they'd won if
They would have had a shorter streak. Yeah.
Wow.
These are 3
Can you say that one?
I'll read it.
One in 54 in the last
The
55.
Pistons, Spurs, and Wizards are 1 of 54 over their last
man, I don't
55
think-
combined games, and the only win in this stretch was the Wizards' win over the Pistons. And unfortunately, I watched that game.
Oh,
Why?
shit. Sorry.
The Arsenal.
Out of sheer curiosity. I remember,
What does this look like?
it was genuinely because, like, as you guys know, I've been living in Australia. I went to an Australian game, right? I went to Melbourne United versus South East Melbourne Phoenix.
Okay.
That was a better game.
I'm not
than
surprised.
the Wizards versus
I'm not
the
surprised.
Pistons. And it was horrible to watch. Horrible.
Let
And it
go
was
on,
just
go
turnover after turnover, bricks after bricks. But someone
Wow.
had to win.
How did you do it?
What do you mean?
Watch the whole game. Did you
Literally, I was walking out of work, yeah, because like I said, like the game was on around lunchtime, yeah. I'm walking out of work, I'm going home early after work, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, man, this is bad. Like I've covered half the screen with WhatsApp, like I'm walking on the phone, I'm just talking to people, and, like way off, like it's not good. It's not good.
Airballs on airballs.
I have a few questions. So, do you think we're being harsh on Detroit by not even mentioning Washington and San Antonio?
Yes, I think that all 3 teams deserve some form of.
No,
shot.
you're right.
Okay.
That's
Because
shocking.
they all have got some glaring problems.
Yeah. So
in my opinion.
I'm gonna address Washington first. Washington are as bad as everyone thought they were gonna be. Washington are 100% as bad as everyone thought they were gonna be. A team that delayed a rebuild to keep one overpaid fringe star at this point. I can't now be shocked that they're not doing well. And technically, this is only the first year of their rebuild. And are they even really full rebuild phase yet?
I think they're having to. I think this is a wake up
No,
call.
100%, bro.
This season's been a wake up call for the Wizards that they can't pivot
3
away
and
from
20.
this rebuild anymore. Yes,
3 and 20.
they've got the same records.
Bro,
the Wizards,
that is
Pistons,
absolutely-
and Spurs are all 3 of them terrible.
Yeah.
But again, let me ask you a question. When your 2 best players, one wants to be a runway model,
Ouch.
and the other one hasn't had a haircut since he got punched by Draymond Green.
I don't blame him. He's
What?
going through it.
Whoa!
He's going through it.
What are we?
This is his pandemic.
What the way Jordan Poole has played since he got to Washington
It's been-
is disgusting, bro. It's disgusting. I'm telling you right now, yeah. I know under 16 National League coaches that would not play that man on his team the way he's playing, because he's playing with no heart. He's playing like he's taking the absolute pit. He's playing like there's 15 minutes left of lunchtime and he's trying to get some buckets.
Damn.
It's a shame.
It's horrible to
It's horrible to watch. as
So
well.
so I'm not blaming Washington.
I've watched more Washington as well, and they're just
They're not. They don't have the personnel. They don't have the personnel.
personnel.
So that's fine. San Antonio is a completely different situation. Obviously, San Antonio obviously have the number one overall pick. The reason I'm going to give San Antonio a slight grace, not all the way grace, because one, I think Pop is really just experimenting with to see what everyone is and what everyone can do, and I think San Antonio are going to be one of the first rebuild teams to start moving off players quickly, because I've already seen a report that's saying how people aren't sure if Keldon Johnson is going to remain on that team by the end of this season. And not that he's not good necessarily, he just doesn't fit what they're doing as a team.
Yes. He's a good player, and he doesn't deserve this.
The same way DeJounte Murray got but I'm not gonna say blessed because I don't think Atlanta are amazing, but he still got given an opportunity to go and
yeah.
play for a team that are at least going to be in the playoffs and send him to Atlanta. I think the similar situation is going to happen with Keldon Johnson as well. I feel like what's the brother's name? Their shooting guard,
Vassell.
Devin Vassell. Sorry, thank you. I think with Vassell, I think it's a different situation. I think because he's a certified guard, like Keldon Johnson is a 6'6". Undersized forward, if we're being honest.
It's a small forward, I think, when it boils down.
Exactly, and they need to have an actual point guard on the court. I think they're going to lean more to actually playing Trey Jones now as well, because playing Sohan at the 1 hasn't necessarily been.
It's not been a great experiment.
I don't know if they even thought they were going to win games though. But again, I think Pop is just experiment. At least I'm seeing the thought process in Pop's head saying we need to see what these guys actually are, which is why I understand why they're losing games. What's the Traits excuse?
They're doing the same thing.
With what?
Unfortunately.
With what experimenting are they doing with this team?
I don't know.
Starting Killian Hayes and putting Jaden Ivey on the bench.
That's wild. Killian Hayes.
Unfortunately,
I think
they're just a few years further into their rebuild.
Which is why I think it's worse though.
I think it is worse.
But both
they're all bad.
100%.
They're all very bad.
It's shocking.
Three wins we're nearly at Christmas. 3 wins by Christmas.
Insane.
Bad. It doesn't matter if you're experimenting or not.
insane.
That is bad.
However, you look at Detroit's team. Yeah, they have Cade at number 1. They took Jaden Ivey at number 5. Was he? I think. Asar Thompson was definitely number 5 as well.
Picks. Yeah.
Asar Thompson was definitely number 5 as well. So you're telling me they have at least 3 top 5 picks? Yes, they're young on their team. San Antonio have 1. So
they tanked hard for him as well.
Wemby. Oh yeah, exactly. They went out of their way.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Super tank.
They went
out of their way to get.
I think that's part of the reason of why they're so bad now. Like they really tried to bring that team to bare bones to make sure they got the number 1.
Getting rid of DeJounte Murray was the first step in that process.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I understand. Maybe we are definitely. In fact, I'm not just going to say us. The media in general are being harsh on Detroit, and I think it's because Detroit look ugly playing basketball.
Also, because they just lost longer. That is a pure reason.
Yeah, just lost.
Like if you flipped whenever the calendar was for those wins, the conversation would be different, and I think that is quite unfortunate for them. And they're still, like I said, none of these teams have cracked 5 wins. So,
which is crazy.
At what point do you say, look, to all 3 of them, like you need to sort something out?
But this is how teams should have been tanking for Victor Wembanyama last year. So who are you tanking for? They're
just losing. They're not tanking.
This is the craziest thing as
They're
well.
looking for nobody.
That's what I mean. That's what makes it worse.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think the Spurs experiment, cool. You know, they're figuring him out. Wemby doesn't look like he, in my opinion. I think I'm coming from. I'll put my hand up straight away and say I'm biased. The Rookie of the Year conversation. And I've seen people try to say that it's that Wembanyama. They've tried to have him in all defense conversations because he gets a few highlight blocks and stuff like that. But they're losing a lot of games. And I'm not sure where this is development. I'm not sure how this is developing him that well.
Yeah, is it
losing by this much constantly? Like same with Wizards as well. I don't see how Embiid dropping 50 on you is going to help you win later on down the line.
Do you know what it is as well? It's obviously the situations are different because it doesn't help.
It's sorry, Rod, it's worse in Washington because they're not that young, innit?
There's just nothing. Like, why are you so bad, bro?
Embiid just bullied Gafford off the court, and
man in Detroit are going home to they're probably sharing with one of their boys, sharing their crib with one of their boys. Man in Washington are going home to their wives, after losing by 50.
Yeah,
that's a different. Look, how can you look at your child after you just got 50 drops on you like that?
Again,
I think we're basically looking at the 3 different phases of tanking, a tank / rebuild.
Yeah,
Embiid because I said the Spurs are trying to do that, come back up.
Yep.
Wizards, I think, are on the way down.
Yep.
And Pistons are just plateauing. They're just in that Groundhog Day of the tank.
Might have to send the whole Pistons team to Thailand, bro. Or something.
For what?
I don't know, bro. They just shouldn't be here.
Phoenix Suns team.
That's crazy.
Yo, Rod, you're the one who said it though. What do you mean it's crazy?
He went into detail, bro, because we all know what that means.
Yo, gonna call up certain stars, bro.
Alright.
And they made the finals though, so
That's very true, actually. That's very true.
Maybe that's what they need.
Very quickly, boys. Speaking of Washington, so you know how we spoke about in previous episodes about the Bradley Beal no trade clause.
Yeah.
This is the effect, surely, of the no trade clause. It's the value you get back for when the player has too much power and can get to where he wants to go, and they've received a bag of bones because they are dog shit. Like, you're looking at it last year, Washington weren't this bad.
They were middling.
Do you know what I mean? But you didn't I thought they'll be bad, but that three wins, but I could never have bet that.
That could,
December.
That's I mean, Pistons, yeah, maybe.
One of them was against the Pistons.
Was
One of
it?
those 3
Yeah,
wins.
That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
They've won 2 games.
2 real
wins.
That's what I mean.
The I think, yes, no trades clause, but it's just more down to these Supermax contracts and the way I've been talking about it as well. It's very rare nowadays that you're seeing guys really return the value of giving someone a Supermax, because not only does it mean that you're tied to them for X amount of years at an extortionate amount of money to the point where you can't build any real talent around them, but also when it comes to moving them now, there's not many teams in the league that have 45 million just chilling there in free cap space.
Literally.
Yeah, you need to get very lucky to get a return like the Portland Trailblazers did for Dame. Like, that's very rare.
100%.
To get such a return investment.
I particularly was extremely harsh on the first part of that trade, because I said there's no way you're going into. I didn't think they got enough back for Dame, but then once they got picks and they got Drew Holiday, and then they were able to move that again to get even more back for it. So all in all, that was a great haul. But then you look at what teams got for Bradley Beal. John Wall got literally nothing. Russ got literally nothing. Like, there's loads of guys who are on silly money.
They just get traded for each other.
Yeah, they've just been shifted there, and it's like, all right, you got a contract somewhere else, boom, and it's
And
like
they get bought out at the very end. I think that's what history is going to tell us.
100%.
they get frustrated, they'll get
100%. That, I think that will be one of the worst aged like contracts or contract clauses or whatever it is in the league when we look on it in like 10, 15 years. The Supermax might have been the death of a lot of these teams. And I genuinely believe if you're a small market team and you're giving a guy a Supermax, you need to have a plan. The plan can't be, we'll give him a Supermax, he'll hang around and hopefully someone will come to us. That's not a plan. That's hopes and wishes. But at the end of the day, if you're a small market team, no one's trying to go Washington. And I don't even think that's even really a small market. If you look in America, that
They
really
were good. They would be a big market.
Have you heard about that they're moving?
Yeah, I've heard.
They're moving from Washington to Virginia now. Both.
I didn't know if it was.
It was them and the baseball team, right?
Yeah, in the
I don't know
basement.
if it was confirmed or not.
I think it's in talks.
I'm hearing it's in talks, but it's likely to get done.
But I don't understand the reason for that, because is it because no one really lives in DC like that? So, because people definitely live in DC. Like, I can't understand what's the logic behind moving from DC to Virginia. Did it say?
It didn't really say, but I don't know if it's more of a sporting city.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe, I don't know, because obviously that's the capital. So I don't know. But a question I wanted to ask the boys, as I love asking the question to round up a segment, who gets the 10 wins first and why?
None of them.
Who gets?
I don't think. No, honestly, I genuinely.
will.
Someone's got to get to 10
No,
wins.
they don't.
Someone has
So
to. Because how many times do the Wizards and Pistons play each other? That's a good question.
Are they in the same division?
Do not kill me.
I'm not sure.
They're only winning against each other.
Hey, it might help. It will help. But I think, to be honest, it has to be the Wizards, in my opinion.
Why does
the
it
10
have-
wins.
I think that something has to click. You'd assume out of the 3 teams, they're the most experienced team. I'd like to think that they would
Get to 10.
they would get to 10.
And how many would they finish on then?
Oh, actually, saying that out loud, I'm not sure. I think they won't get. I think we're going to see some historically bad, like losing records by the end of the season for one. Maybe from the Spurs, because the West is so stacked,
So good,
and no one else is really looking too bad at the moment. But one thing which I think could help the Pistons at least, because I know they're in the same division as the Bulls, and the Bulls are looking quite.
The Bulls are 1 win away from the Bulls aren't that bad.
Yeah, no, but they're about to tear it down from.
Yeah, that's
how
true.
it's
That is
looking.
true.
So I think maybe the fact that it gets down to the division clashes, is going to be part of it. But yeah, we battle of the bums for sure, because all of these teams are going to play each other enough that they'll probably accumulate wins from it.
Enough wins, yeah.
They'll play the Spurs twice each of these teams, so that's going to help.
Balance it
So
out.
so
just only against each other.
off the top of my head,
Relegation battles.
Literally. Mid-season.
Off the top of my head, the Pistons and the Bulls are in the same division, in the Central Division, I believe, and then the Wizards and the Hornets are in the same division in the Southeast Division, which means the bottom 4 teams in the Eastern Conference are from two divisions.
Wow.
Obviously, the potential 3, so it doesn't. I don't know if it means a lot. However, all these arse teams are just going to keep playing each other,
They'll rack up some wins.
because someone has to win.
Yeah.
But then you say, like you said, that. Look at the Spurs and who's in the Spurs division. They have to play against Dallas. Mm-hmm. They have to play against
Rockets, Houston.
the Rockets. They have to play against. No. They have to play against the Grizzlies. And I think the other team might be the Pelicans. Yeah, it is the Pelicans. They're not beating any of them teams. I'm super harsh on the Rockets, and the Rockets are 12-9 right now. They're not beating any of those teams.
I say beating no one. It's true though.
To be honest, unless something clicks for this team halfway through, and to be honest, if they're going to start trading some of their better players as well, they'll probably end up with another number 1 pick next year.
That is hilarious.
The Spurs.
Back to back.
You know, there's another another 7-foot+ Frenchman.
Yeah.
Do they need him as well?
They're
currently starting Zach Collins at the 5. If I'm honest, if I'm San Antonio, I'm looking for a point guard. I'm not looking for a big necessarily. But you know,
depends on what they're doing with the rebuild, how they want to do it.
I think they're gonna be doing in the draft for the next heavy for the next 2 years, because they have Charlotte's protected pick next year. Well, it's protected this year, so they'll get it the 3rd for next year. I think it's top 10 this year and then top 5 next year, or top 5 this year and top 3 next year.
Wow.
All I'm saying, the Spurs at some point could have two in the next 2 years could have a 2. Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
These teams fucking suck.
Honestly, because that Detroit,
to be honest,
on the 21 game losing streak, Spurs 18, like
18.
They're really going arse for arse. This is crazy.
Like Detroit are protecting them. Detroit are protecting these two teams from getting a lot of flack. That's all I'm saying.
This is what you call an Arsosaurus Rex. Because, like, I don't understand what is going on.
This is terrible.
But yeah, man.
I'll put my OKC hat on and say that there's no way that a man with 3 wins should be getting Rookie of the Year.
I think that's relative.
I think that is very
3 wins is shocking though.
Comparing where Chet is and where Victor
It's not.
No, it's not, because look at the let's look at
let's add
the
some context.
surrounding.
Let's add some context.
OKC, you've got first of all SGA, who has developed into an amazing player.
One of the best point guards in the league right now.
Yeah. And then obviously Chet's come into that system there. You have J-Dub, who's also improved. Like, they are looking like contenders. So they've gone they've gone through a rebuild, and now on the part where they've obviously still building, but they're on the positive side of it. Whereas Spurs have been literally tanking. They're doing experiments. They have a 6'9" forward at point guard. Like, there's a lot of things going on with the Spurs where they are in terms of Chet, and obviously being in the system for the year, seeing how the team moves, understanding how they are, their plays, getting all the knowledge to insert yourself perfectly into a team who have now taken like 4 steps away from the rebuilding phase. But then I'm not saying that means yes, Wemby should win Rookie of the Year, because
it should be part of the conversation.
Yeah, it should be, because obviously
if you're it's a little bit like Evan Mobley before, where if you've come into a system and actually been an active contributor, and I think one of the main reasons why OKC are being able to do what they're doing is because they've now got that center presence. They didn't have that before.
Yeah, so he's contributing.
He is one of the, I would say, and I'm not the only one who said this, I'm seeing him as like a top 10 two-way center at the moment. Stretch 5, he's shooting threes, and he's also defending very well.
Yeah.
And he's that the pick and pop game is there and stuff. And it may be unfortunate for Wemby that he's not necessarily got the partner to be running with at the moment, but that is genuinely, that's how the game's playing out. And I think before the season started, Wemby was being pre-crowned as Rookie of the Year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the games are panning out, and no one's talking about him for a reason. There's other Rookies of the Years, and they're talked about throughout the season. and he's just going, we'll probably just give it to him. And I think now that there's actual rookies playing, like Chet, the conversation.
I'll be honest, if Chet wasn't injured and played last season, and he wasn't here as a rookie, Wemby would walk away with it, because a lot of the other rookies aren't. To me,
no one's really hearing about them.
Yeah, but I think what Chet is doing has been outstanding, and I think it's credit to him to come off such a serious injury at a young age. And obviously you're young, so you can kind of bounce back, but it is credit to bounce back and get in the system and kind of know how it works. And they're playing winning basketball, so I think. But to analyze both situations, it is tough, because obviously, for example, OKC, you guys were you on the verge of the play-in last year?
We lost to the Pelicans.
You lost,
No. We beat the Pelicans and
you lost. That's it. You lost the other one. So you're on the verge of making the playoffs. You win the play-in, whilst the San Antonio Spurs will rock bottom. So I think there is a parallel in terms of where both teams' franchises are. But I think, credit to Shaq.
We'll never get to see the mistakes that Chet could have made as a pure rookie, but he still at least came onto the NBA court and has really, I wouldn't even say adjusted, he's fit in. He's
right. Looking at his stats as well, he was very close. I think he was, earlier on, he was like 50, 40, 90. Now he's just shy of.
Yeah, still though, like it's still close.
Like he's crazy. 38% from 3 on 4.2 attempts. He's shooting. He's scoring 17 points a game, 2.4 blocks a game.
Nice,
and 88% from free throws.
The only reason I don't agree with your argument about Victor Wembanyama's wins is because Chet Home, you guys got lucky getting Chet, because you had the 4th best odds that year, and you ended up jumping from 4 in the lottery to 2 to get Chet. Like in a normal situation, Chet would have gone to a Houston or a Sacramento, who at the time weren't looking too hot, but yes, did end up turning it on in the end. But my point is that he got lucky in terms of being drafted by an organization that already had a pretty good situation going on. No, of course, 100%. But at the same time,
don't hate the game. Hate the
no,
game.
of course, no. Come on, bro. I respect it, but at the same time, that's why you kind of can't discredit Victor's numbers or Victor's claim to being Rookie of the Year purely based off team record, because
not purely, but it needs to be part of.
But like, you could take Chet off OKC, take Victor off San Antonio, and like,
swap them?
No, I'm not gonna say. There's no need to say that, because I don't know if it would make a great deal of difference. To be honest,
OKC it would for sure.
You think it'll make you better or worse?
Because Victor's game is not like the way how Chet is shooting as well. Victor, that's not really been part of Victor's game. He's not really efficient there, so I don't know.
And they're hiding him from centre.
Yeah, no,
100%.
100%.
I think if he was playing as centre,
I think it'd be,
No, of course, but I think the point I'm trying to make is that the supporting cast on both teams, I say supporting cast because Shea is not a supporting cast, but you know what I mean. The point I'm trying to make is very, very different. But even me, I started off by saying it should be Victor, but I agree with you. He's getting the media love that like Luka was getting early in his career as well. And I get it. Like he's a unicorn to watch, and you haven't seen anything like that before. But at the same time, like, don't discredit, because we hadn't seen Chet before, even like a Chet before.
Have you watched any Spurs this season?
I watched when they played against us. You say he's us.
He played well.
He's not.
He played well against us yesterday, innit? Yeah.
I think he doesn't look NBA ready.
He doesn't look assertive. I'll say that,
which is fine because he's a rookie.
But and also the way he's being used there is very weird. Like
they're figuring him out.
That's the thing. So, but like I say, this year is a year of mistakes. He's a rookie. This is what he's for. So what we really need to look at also is obviously the second half of the season, how he looks, and then how he looks next year as well. Now that you've seen the NBA floor for a year, you know your mistakes, you know your flaws. Where do you go from here?
Chet deserves it. Chet deserves it.
Yeah, I think it might come out as a little bit of a Ben Simmons versus Donovan Mitchell kind of.
I was literally just thinking that. I was literally just thinking that. Except when Ben won it, Donovan Mitchell had much better numbers. Like it was a big difference. But
they were in the playoffs that season as well.
Yeah,
and Mitchell was a big driver.
He was the reason.
To chime in before we head off very quickly, expectations for OKC. Last we got you here.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Where are you currently in the West? Second?
I think we're second, maybe.
No, second in the West. Second in the West.
And I think the expectations for the season, I think now that it feels a little bit like they've arrived after a few years of slowly making the progress and making the experience plays and shedding some of the weight as they go along. I think I would expect to see them probably drop off a little bit as the season goes on, just with natural play. I think there's probably an expectation of injuries to come just with the nature of an 82-game season. So I'm expecting maybe like a 3 to 5 finish, and I'm hopefully home court advantage. And I don't think personally, maybe because I watch them all the time, I still think that there's improvements to be made, and I think that there might be instances in the playoffs where they get exposed a little bit. And I think I would hope to see that they win a round in the playoffs. I think is what I would expect, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it to the conference finals at the moment.
I think second round.
Second round.
I'm expecting maybe a second round sort of situation.
So if you don't get, would you be disappointed if you get a first round exit?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
At this rate,
100%.
I think if we get past the first round, I think everything past that would be.
Good.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. As long as there's no catastrophic injuries throughout the season, that's where I'm expecting it to be. I think one thing that still looms over everyone's head is the Josh Giddey situation. Yeah. And that's impacting his own play as well.
You know, I think
he's been down for this whole season, to be honest, I would say.
That's gonna hurt you guys. And I think with that will hurt you guys. And as I think, if you guys don't end up playing, if you don't play the Nuggets in the second round, I think you could get to the conference final.
It's possible.
I actually think you could get to.
I think the West is too tough, man. I'll be honest. The West.
Do you know what? It is tough, but there's something sneaky about OKC.
I don't think you're far from wrong. I do think you're wrong. Just because of you've been singing Chet's praises, but if we talk about the centers that are in the top playoff teams anyway, obviously you said Jokic, AD. You go further down to even Minnesota, I don't like Gobert, but that Gobert camp would still be a long day. That would still be a long day.
That was the same team we lost to in the
the Timberwolves and the Nuggets
without Chet,
a huge threat.
I just think it's.
I think a lot of teams in the West are looking at the Mavs, what Luka would do potentially in the 7-game series against them.
Yeah, but I know, but
obviously you got the Suns.
Even me,
I'd back Shea to put him to.
I'll back Shea, Dort,
100. Listen,
and Casey Wallace, those three together on the perimeter.
Just give him hell in it.
Don't forget that when we played them, we went on a 30-0 run to lose. So that already showed me that there's a lot of stuff that we have to do over there. So that's why the only two teams that I think the top radar teams that are issues is Nuggets and the Timberwolves, because they've been able to figure OKC's tricks in a way and to kind of use it against them. Then after that, it slides down to teams having a more there's opportunities and chances there. Is this matchups? Yeah. So
okay.
That's what I'd say. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Well, that is the end of the pod, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode with our returning Australian.
Better than the first time. It's improved.
It's about progress. Hopefully next year I'll be fluent. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, share, follow us on socials. I Take It to the Pod on Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it. I Take It to the Rim podcast on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Also, make sure that you follow Rory. Plug in your socials there. Insert. That was a bit mad.
So it's raw play. It's a bit like foreplay, but with an R.
You see what
it's an R. Wait. It's an R. It's an R for the F and a 4 for the A. But it's all locked up at the moment, so you can try your best.
Nice.
And as Jules always says and takes us out,
Over and out, baby.
Done.